Now get ready for watching Wyrd, your ultimate destination for mind-bending movie reviews and recommendations. From hidden gems to cult classics, we explore it all. Hosted by storytellers and cinephils Alan Gamboa, Scott Baker, Rich Restucci, and Hadley Thorne, with a special shout-out to Landis Aldana and Alan Lasseter for their incredible support that help us keep the lights on at Wyrd. Now grab your Coke, popcorn, and tinfoil hat, and let's get weird.
Hey.
Let's get weird.
Hey. Smooth intro. Very nice. Yeah, so Scott is not feeling well, and Heather is having technical difficulties, but I believe she's going to be in soon.
Yeah.
How's it going, Alan? How are you?
Good. How you doing?
I'm all right. Things
It's
are
weird.
Things are okay.
It's weird being here on a Wednesday.
Yeah, I know.
Hey.
Were you not here? You were here last week, weren't you here last week?
I was sick.
Oh, that's right. You had bad burritos. I forgot. Yeah.
That sushi burrito.
I didn't know there was a sushi burrito.
There is. What they do is instead of a tortilla, they wrap it in seaweed.
Yeah.
And it's like a big sushi roll, but it's like that, And they're usually pretty, but this one, what happened is it set out on Tina's nightstand overnight. Because that's what we had. We had it for dinner, right? And
you tried it. You actually ate gas station sushi the next day.
Yeah. Better, right?
Right. So Craig and Doc are here. Hey, guys.
Oh, hey.
Lady and man.
Good
How
to
are
see
you? Did everybody watch the movies? Did you get all three in?
So I can't see who. Let me see. See if I can wiggle into the chat. Yeah, but then you go away.
No, that's okay.
Hey, Craig.
So Doc is here and Craig Boland is here.
All right. Good to see you, Craig. Good to see you alive and non-zombie bit.
I know. So if I make everything big, I can't see the peanut gallery, so I got to keep it kind of small. The thing is, my monitor is absolutely enormous. My monitor is legitimately, it's this big.
So now we're monitoring, measuring?
Yes. You have monitor envy. Everyone does. And it's curved. Let's see if I can show you. Can you see that? It's curved.
Look at that. That is pretty cool.
Yeah,
see,
I've had that for a few years now.
See, here's mine.
You do have monitor envy.
I do. Plus, I'm on my phone because we thought it was me, but it's not. So
Landa's here. Hi, Landa.
Hey, Landa.
Sorry, Alan, I cut you off, buddy. Sorry.
Oh, that's all right. That's all right. Glad to see your dog's doing better.
Yes, Landa. I was worried. I was concerned.
Yeah, that's scary.
Shinji.
Well, tonight we're doing it's a dumbass show. I mean, a Dumas show.
Yeah. Alexander Dumas.
Alexander Dumas.
Yeah.
And we have the Three Musketeers, 2011, The Man in the Iron Ask.
The Man in the Iron Ass.
The Man in the Iron Mask. And the Count of Monte Cristo.
Yes.
So those are actually good stories. Pretty good stories.
Did you ever read Dumas? Did you ever read any of those stories?
I have not. I've never read. I've watched forever things, his stories adapted to TV shows and movies, but I've never read. I'm a Dumas.
Yeah.
Read them.
My dad was into. Hi, Tina. My dad was into Alexander Dumas. He didn't have any first editions, but he did have some really nice, like super bound, like with the gold embossment hardcovers. And so I read them when I was a kid. I read all kinds of shit. Arthur Conan Doyle. He had all kinds of crap. And one of my favorites was Dumas. But it's a tricky book to get through. I mean, of course, it was written in French, so they've translated it to English, and there's a lot of big words. You know what I mean? There's a lot of moving around. Let me get Heather in here. Like, there she is. And she's gone. She took herself out. One more time. Should I try her again?
Yeah.
At the stage. There she is. Are you there? Hello?
Hey, can you hear me?
Yes,
Yeah.
we can hear you.
Sorry about that.
Oh, it's okay. Can you hear us?
Blaming Alan. That's
Let's always blame it.
I'm so sorry.
We're just three Dumases. That never gets old. I worked with an officer. His last name was Dumas, and that poor guy, he got ribbed all the time. You know, hey, you Dumas. You know, anyway, that gets old, but it's fun. It's still fun. It's like that's what she said, joke. So, boss, what do you got for us?
Well,
We just
are y'all going to let me go first?
Yeah. You go first.
Well, I'm going to review the Count of Monte Cristo, the 2002 version. I know I said 2004, but apparently it's made in 2002. So if you're looking, I think you can find it on Apple under 2003, and I found it on IMDb on 2004. So just put it in your things. So I felt like this is a movie where swashbuckling revenge is done right. I feel like few films can manage to capture the drama of betrayal, revenge, and redemption and hold up the Count of Monte Cristo does. This is based on the Alexander classic novel, and this adaptation was directed by Kevin Reynolds, who also directed the Robin Hood Prince of Thieves with Kevin Costner. This is one of my favorite movies. I mean, I know I said that about all of them, but it's one of those that I could go back and rewatch again and again. Hadn't seen it in a while, and I felt like it was a fun rewatch for me. It's still gripping. It has a high energy for a period piece, and it keeps you on the edge of your seat. It's a smartly done movie, and it's mainly because the subject matter was so well done, especially for the time. This movie stars Jim Caviezel. He was in The Passion of the Christ, and he plays Edmond Dantes. And it stars a young and handsome Guy Pearce. You might remember him from LA Confidential. He's been in a ton of stuff since. And he plays the treacherous Ferdinand Mondego. The Count Mondego. Or, isn't he a count?
Yeah, Count.
This version of Monte Cristo delivers sword fights, secret plots, and deliciously satisfying revenge. And it is all wrapped up with some great cinematography and a stirring score. Now, I can go on and on about this movie, but Dumas' novels are they're just full of intricate details. If you've ever read Three Musketeers or any of his other novels, I felt like this adaptation kind of trims the fat and keeps the story focused, which is kind of hard to do with his stuff. But it takes the pacing for modern audiences. I think that it still keeps that rich period atmosphere, like in Venice for Carnival. I just love that scene, the whole way it plays out. And I feel it leaned heavily on dialogue and drama. I mean, it's a really well done film. Jim Caviezel, and I'm going to say his name probably 15 different ways while we talk tonight. His take on Dantes is nothing short of phenomenal. This is a young Jim Caviezel, and I've recently saw him in, what was that movie with the human trafficking?
Oh, yeah.
He's such, I mean, he hasn't been in that many things that I personally have seen, but he's so good. And he was so young, and at the time of this, but the delivery of his performance was really nothing short of phenomenal. He transformed from an innocent, wide-eyed sailor to a cold, calculating man bent on revenge. And his ability to shift from that hopeful dreamer to this ruthless mastermind of this vengeance arc. This, to me, one of his best roles. And that's just in the limited stuff I've seen him in. And Guy Pearce, bless his heart, he is just always that guy you love to hate. He just has the ability to portray weakness unlike anything I've seen before. He's definitely a worthy villain. He is an alcoholic. He just chews the scenery as Ferdinand, and he's arrogant and conniving, and he betrays his friend who just adores him just out of nothing more than jealousy and ambition. And he's got that smug sneer that, you just really are rooting for him to get his comeuppance. So Oh, and Richard Harris. This is, I think, if not I think it was his final role, or did he play Dumbledore before or after this?
I don't know.
I think it was one of his final roles. That was.
Well, he is chef's kiss. I love Richard Harris. Just amazing. He mentors Edmund while Edmund's in the Chateau d'If, the prison where he's at, and his performance, while it was very limited, it really made the story even. I don't know. It just gave it something more to look at, I guess. I don't know, but it was a heartbreaking fate that he had in it. But this movie, if you like revenge flicks, this is the ultimate revenge story. And I feel like films can effectively narrate all the pieces. Like this one, this is like watching a game of chess. It's smart. There's so much betrayal, and there's lessons that are learned and strategic moves, and it all leads you to this finale that feels both triumphant and poetic. And again, I can't say enough good things about this film. Some of the trivia that I came up with is that Crevezio, I'm saying it 3 different ways, trained for months in sword fighting, horseback riding, and period etiquette to embody Edmond Dante's transformation from prisoner to nobleman. This was located in Ireland and Malta, which kind of gave that breathtaking European look to the film.
Yeah.
And the Chateau d'If scenes were shot in a real fortress that really kind of added that authenticity. Oh, let me see. Richard Harris was sick during the film. Oh, so the film box office success, while modest, cemented as a cult classic, it grossed $75 million worldwide on a budget of $35 million, proving that old school adventure stories still have a place in the early 2000s in Hollywood. My take on this is a must-watch classic. If you love revenge thrillers, historical dramas, or just a well-crafted story with strong performances, The Count of Monte Cristo should be on the top of your watch list. It's got action, it's got romance, it's got betrayal, redemption, all wrapped up in one epic package. I'm going to give it a 5 out of 5. I highly recommend this. And it's got me inspired to write and to read some more Alexander Dumas.
Sound of Freedom. Abby. Sound of Freedom is the movie you were thinking of. Caviezel.
Yes.
Can I go, Rich? Is it?
Go.
I love this. I love this story. I really. I remember. I think Richard Chamberlain did a TV version, years ago.
1977, I think.
Okay, and that's the first time I think I saw the film version of the book, and I loved it. I thought it was great. Just the way things turn. We're forgetting though. Luis Guzman was in this.
Yeah.
Look at
Luis Guzman.
I dig Luis Guzman. He acts the same way in everything, whether he's Gomez Adams or in this. He acts the same way, and this guy made a career acting that way. But that endears you to him, because he's an everyman. He could be your buddy. You could have a beer with him on the stoop, and probably have a good time. I love his character in this, and then Villefort, the bad DA or whatever you want to call him, magistrate, James Frank. Remember him from? You ever watch True Blood?
Yes.
He was one of the bad guy vampires, and he's been in a lot of things. He's underrated. He plays a good bad guy. And Richard Harris, man, that dude's a legend. There's, it's sad that we get old and die, because some of these actors, I know they're actors, whatever, but there's no one that can play those roles again like that type. Him playing the old prisoner in there was, I think, one of the better parts of the movie for me. I really liked his character. And Guy Pearce, he's great. I've seen a few movies where he's a good guy. He plays a good guy, and he's good at that role. Did you know he was a bodybuilder?
What?
Yeah, he was a late bodybuilder. He was a champion
I don't know
in Australia. Yeah. So like
I
when you see
wouldn't pick
somebody
that.
look a little, like he's got some muscle, that's because he was a lightweight bodybuilder. So that's cool trivia there. And Henry Cavill was in this. That was great playing.
Oh my gosh, he was such a baby.
Yeah, that was great, and he acted pretty good. This is a great story. The twist in it are just fun to watch, and I like the way it played out, because I saw a version where it didn't play out quite this happy as this one does, and it's kind of a bummer. But it's a great story. You've seen it translated into different movies. I've used this twist. The thing is, it reminds me of Superman. Nobody could recognize him because he had long hair and he was a little bit older. It's like,
I think there was more to that. He had been how many years in that prison? I mean,
is on. Oh, take the glasses off. Oh, wait, you're Edmond Dantes. Oh,
yeah, but I mean that comes from the book, so that's not their fault. But you're right. That's annoying.
That's like crazy, because I could tell that was Jim Caviezel. That guy's got Jim Caviezel. It's a good movie.
Someone since they were like 18 years old and 20 years old, you wouldn't recognize them.
Right, you would, especially Mercedes. She would, when she did, right away. She was the only one that could see through his magic glasses that it was, Edmond Dantes.
People cared to see him.
Yeah. It was. I enjoyed the movie. I'm glad we did this version instead of the newer one, because I don't know if the newer one would have been as good, and it endeared us with all the actors that we're familiar with that are in this one. Caviezel, he's an underrated actor. If you've ever seen Person of Interest, a TV show he was in, that's a great watch. Hated the ending, had to end that way. Hated the ending of it. But Person of Interest is a fun series to watch. And I'd give this movie, since you already rated it, I'd give it a 4, a solid 4. It was a fun movie, and I recommend this movie. Big Daddy?
Mr. Restucci?
Speaking of Superman, Henry Cavill, I don't know that this may have been his first role. I don't know if he did something before this, but this is the first one where I actually recognized Henry Cavill as being Henry Cavill. Of course, it was years later after Henry Cavill was famous, and I'm like, wait a minute, is that him? And it is. He's the kid in the film. One of the things that gets overlooked in this movie is the whole piracy aspect of it, because in the book, when Edmond Dantes sort of escapes from the Chateau d'If, which is an island prison. It's basically a rock with a big building on it. He escapes from that. He gets to the beach, and he immediately gets accosted by these pirates, and they're like, "Hey, fight our buddy, or we'll kill you."
This scene about the whole show is this scene that you're about to describe.
Yeah, and so he ends up fighting this guy Jacopo, who was accused of stealing from the pirates. He is a pirate, and they ended up. Jim Caviezel beats him because he had learned swordsmanship from the Abbé Faria in the Chateau d'If while they talked together. That's Richard Harris's character. And in the book, the piracy stuff, that actually went on for a little bit. It was really good. And it just gets overlooked a lot when it gets reviewed. And honestly, I think in the book, that's the best part of it. And they just kind of cut it out of the movie, and they just say, yeah, he was a pirate for a few years, learning how to fence and fight, and he already was the best of the pirates, blah, blah. So to me, that's a portion of the book that is not really brought into it, and it's a great part of the book. But the rest of the movie, just the way, like Hadley said, the way that he just goes into his revenge plot is just phenomenal. And honestly, you can't blame the guy. He's Dantes is incorrect in his assumption about Mercedes, his former fiance, that she was part of getting rid of him or just immediately jumped into Mondeggo's bed when he got put into the Chateau d'If, when Dantes was put into the Chateau d'If. So he's plotting revenge on all of them, including his kid, which he doesn't know is his son. It's not Mondego's son. It's Dantes' son, who is Henry Cavill. So the whole film is sort of revolving around this revenge plot, and after Dantes gets off of the Chateau d'If, another huge subplot is this guy named Enrique Sparta, who had this gigantic treasure trove on this little island, Monte Cristo. And Dantes and Jacopo go and they find the treasure, and it's just earth-shattering the amount of treasure they have. And that's how he's able to plan his entire revenge plot. And again, that's another thing that's overlooked, because they spent a while on that island, and it's just the movie overlooks it, and they give a little bit of it, but it was a good search for the treasure. And once he's got the treasure, he just goes and he buys this enormous chateau, and then he starts to plot his revenge against all the people that wronged him, Villefort and Mondego and Mercedes, which was wrong. He was incorrect in that area, because he thought Mercedes jumped into bed with Mondego, and she actually had to marry him because she was pregnant with Dantes' son. So overall, I would also have to give this movie a 5. This is a movie that I watch once probably every other year, and I'm really glad that we picked this one this time, because of the 3 films that we watched, this is hands far and away the best. But yeah, I'll give it a 5.
All right. And what does Scott give it? Is he in the peanut gallery tonight?
No, I don't see him.
Well, and I want to go back to the scene that Rich was describing when Edmond awakens on the beach with the pirates. It had one of the funniest quotes, and I don't remember if it's from the book or not. I'll have to reread the book, but it was, "What if I don't want to kill this man? And then we will." What did he? The pirate tells them what all they're going to do to him.
Then we'll slit your throat, and we'll be a bit short-handed.
Yeah, and then he goes, "Well, I will kill this maggot then," because that's what they had referred to him as. I mean, it's just like, and that's, I think, probably one of the first times in film I ever saw somebody really take that turn of, "Oh yeah, I'll kill him. That's fine. We'll just get right to it." But I think I'm going to have to thank my sister for pointing that out, because she loves this movie too, and she said that was her favorite thing. She's, "I'm sure you can guess my favorite scene," and I was like, "I can't." And she cited that, and she quoted it verbatim, and I was like, "Yeah, that was a really good scene." I had to mention it.
Also, Jacopo is the best knife fighter I've ever seen. Well, maybe you should get out more. Ooh, great line.
Well done. And I mean, y'all know I've already said this. I'm going to call the Three Musketeers version that we watched Percy Jackson and the Three Musketeers.
Percy Jackson and the Three Musketeers.
But I had fun watching all these movies. The legacy that Alexander Dumas left us is incredible. And I mean, he had to write these in the 1800s for them to hold up in movies and all today. I mean, that says a lot.
Oh yeah, and all the ripoffs, of different movies, and everybody's used a lot of this. The Musketeer thing and the revenge.
If you ever get a chance to read the book called The Club Dumas, you should read it. It's a book, and the book was made into a movie called The Ninth Gate, starring Johnny Depp.
Oh, okay.
Nowhere near the greatness of the book, but the book is really good.
Okay.
It's kind of a conspiracy theory based off of Dumas's work. It's really good if you like that kind of stuff.
Well, shall we move to The Man in the Iron Mask?
Sure.
I have some questions for y'all. Can I ask my questions first?
Oh yeah.
I am unhinged because of my sound issues and me blaming poor Alan. It was him.
Yeah. Always blame me. It's easy. Go for it.
Go ahead.
Oh, I got to find my questions. Okay, so did you think that Dante's revenge ultimately serves his character development, or does it consume him?
No, I think it would have consumed him if he went all the way with it, but he stopped.
Yeah.
So I think no, it was instrumental to his character development.
I agree. Because it would have ended differently if it consumed.
He would have killed his own son, and he would have killed Mercedes or left her destitute.
Yeah. And it's a good thing he had Jacopo in his ear, even though seemed to disregard a lot of his, trying to be a better man. He it was there in his ear.
Best character in the show, in the movie, and honestly, one of the best actors.
Yeah.
Louis Guzman. If I make a movie, I'm not making it without him in it.
I'm your
My
man.
favorite all-time actor.
What did he call that guy? What was the name? The Driftwood. What was it?
Oh, Zatara.
Zatara.
I'm your man now and forever. I'm your man. I was like, I want a man. I want a man like that.
No, you got to knife fight somebody.
I know.
And win.
And let him live.
Yep.
So what are your thoughts on the final resolution of the story? Do you feel like it offered true justice or just a temporary sense of closure?
True justice.
True justice, for sure. Yeah. The bad guy got his. Both bad guys. Actually, all three of the bad guys got theirs.
Yeah.
Danglars got his.
Yeah.
He went to prison. Villefort went to the Chateau d'If. He went to prison.
Yeah.
And Mondego got dead. So,
yeah.
Well, and the prison warden went to Davy Jones Lockett.
Yeah. We forgot Michael Wincott. That dude.
He's so creepy, weird.
Yes, he is.
Great. He's great as a villain, though. Remember, he was in Vampires.
Movie. I want him to be in it because he's so fucking creepy.
Oh, he's great. I love Michael Wincott as a bad guy.
Yeah.
Three Musketeers, not this version we watched, but the other one. He was the
one. There's like 60.
Yeah, he was a Rutherford or whatever. Anyway, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Okay, sorry, Rich, but we're asking questions now. So
go ahead.
You have the floor.
Are you finished with your question?
I'm finished, but I have some for you too at the end.
Okay, all right. I was fortunate enough to get the Man in the Iron Mask for this week's review. And I apologize. I got home very late. I came in right at the beginning of the show. I did not get to write anything up. It was made in 1998, and of course, it's made from a Dumas book, and it's about the Three Musketeers. They have aged some. They're probably in their mid 50s. In the book, they were in their mid 50s, and they no longer protect the king. They're sort of retired, except for D'Artagnan, who is now the head of the King's Guard, living their lives, having a great time. But the king's kind of a dick. He's a bit of a bastard. He's tyrannical, and he's got these wars going with Spain and the Dutch, and those wars they're just wrecking the coffers. They're destroying everything. So he's got no money, which means he can't get food for his people. So his people are revolting. They're starting to hate the king, or not starting to. They definitely hate the king because he's living lavish life in the palace and all that stuff. He's having balls. He's having parties. So little, or unbeknownst to a lot of people, when the king was born, he had a brother. He had a twin, and the twin was taken away at birth because the actual king, before the new king was king, long live the king, said, I don't want my sons to battle, so we're just going to take this one and put him over there, and he'll be taken care of, and blah, blah. So when the bad king, the evil king, who's Leonardo DiCaprio, plays both, and he does quite well, actually, when he finds out, he puts his brother in a mask and throws him, again, in the Chateau d'If. I don't know if you guys know that, but that's where he was. So he was not in the Bastille, as most people think. He was in the Chateau d'If originally anyway. They were going to put him in the Bastille later. And I know I'm jumping around here. I apologize. But so the Three Musketeers hatch a plan. Three Musketeers are played by Jeremy Irons, who plays Athos, Gerard Depardieu, who plays Porthos, and John Malkovich, who plays... John Malkovich plays Athos, and Jeremy Irons plays Aramis. And Gabriel Byrne plays D'Artagnan. So the three of the Three Musketeers hatch a plan to switch the brother, which only Aramis knows about, with the king. And so they try this plan, kind of fail at it, ends up working out pretty well. But this is a film that's got some fantastic actors, some fantastic acting, but it just did really crappy at the box office. It ended up being a box office success, but it's got poor reviews. People didn't really love it that much, and as luck would have it, it came out the same time as Titanic, which also, of course, starred DiCaprio. So he had the two best movies that came. Titanic was first, and Man in the Iron Mask was second at the time. So it did pretty well. I think it made like $60 million. I can't remember, on a budget that was significantly less, but it did okay. I really like this movie. I think I'm one of the few. I know a lot of people don't particularly care for it. I thought it was done really well. I thought it was very sad. It sort of kicks you in the gut a few times, but it ends up on a happy note. Well, mostly a happy note. If you haven't seen it, I would recommend that you watch it. Definitely not as good as the last one we reviewed, but it's not bad. But it's another movie that I've seen probably 4 or 5 times and will likely watch again because I really do enjoy it. I like everything by Dumas. I think there's a lot of action there. What did you guys think? Did you like it or not? I know it's kind of out there. Some people don't like it, and some people. What do you think,
Boss?
I think that I went to see this at the theater. At the time, these were some of the heaviest hitters in Hollywood.
Yeah.
Well, you had, and in France, you had Gerard Depardieu. I think this was in like the 3 years he came to Hollywood. He probably got kicked out of France for drinking underage girls. But this movie could have been better, but I didn't have a problem with it. I enjoyed it, but I mean, I love John Malkovich, and I watch him in probably everything. And this was at the time when I feel like he had his swagger. He still had a young man's sex appeal in it, and that's one of the things that rewatching this show I really enjoyed was how they portray these aging athletes in their 50s. Hey, Kitty.
I will hold my comment, Rich.
I know. But so I think that there's a lot to it. I mean, it had young Leonardo DiCaprio. You can watch his growth as an actor. I mean, you know John Malkovich, and a lot of these guys are regulated to old men roles now. But this was when they were in their height. And so while this movie wasn't Academy Award winning, I really enjoyed watching it. And I'll say that I felt like it held up because of the subject matter. And again, in comparison to some of the other movies, it was lacking. I mean, Monte Cristo is a 5. I mean, it just is. But I think that had a lot to do with the cast wasn't. I mean, there was a lot of chiefs and a few Indians in this version of the Three Musketeers. Let's face it. And Monte Cristo was a lot of people who were just coming into their own. So, anyway, that's what I think. I think it was good, Alan. What do you think?
I enjoy this one. I really do. I love the inclusion of years. And Gerard Depardieu, whatever with him, but he played a good Porthos. Good.
Yes.
And his issues he was having, he couldn't get it up anymore, and he wanted to hang him, himself. And
I love it.
That was funny. Gabriel Byrne is always good. I like it when he finds out, when the king finds out who his dad is, and I said, he's like, you mean I'm, and I go, Irish? Not French or Irish. But, DiCaprio proves the actor that he is, Christine turned, 26, so she had to go. This one, to me, this is a fun one because I love the interaction of the Musketeers. I really do. And it was closer to the 70s Musketeer movies, you know, with Chip and Oliver Reed, you know, all those guys, the body, fun Musketeers, you know, even though they were aging and having their issues. I liked that part of it. Caprio, you know, his part was great. And it kept me watching. Tina didn't like it, but I'm a sucker for all things Musketeer, you know, and I thought this movie's okay. It's not, I mean, I've seen this movie like you, Rich. I've seen it probably 3 times, you know, and, you know, I enjoy it every time. It aged better than Monte Cristo, I think. Of course, it's not that old, but I recommend this one. It's my second favorite of the. No, it's actually my favorite. My favorite of the 3 movies tonight. So.
Okay, y'all ready for my questions?
Sure.
What are you going to give it, Alan? I mean,
I'll give it a 4.5.
Rich?
Give it a 4.
Well,
It's worth a 4.
I'm going to give it a 4.5 mainly because I think that each of these actors bears watching. And just to see them all do what they do together. And
Yeah.
that kind of comes up to my next question, which is how do you feel the dynamic between the 4 Musketeers changes in this adaptation, especially with the introduction of the masked man?
Oh yeah. Well, it splits them for a bit. You know, it's really divisive, that part.
Rich, anything you want to add?
No, Alexa, stop. No, not to that. I think Alan's got it with the divisive comment. No, I know. I think Alan, you crushed it. I would have said the same thing.
Yes.
Kiss ass. So, I guess the next question is, one of the overall themes of this is loyalty and friendship. So how do you think that it evolved over the course of the movie?
All right, can you ask that again? I missed that center part.
How do you feel it evolved over the course of the movie?
How do I feel it evolved?
Yeah, the themes of loyalty and friendship.
Oh, okay. So that's what I missed. Okay. Yeah, so it's really difficult to sever the bonds of friendship that those guys have. They were warrior brothers, and it's really hard to sever those bonds. One of the few things that would do it would be betrayal, and I believe that Athos thought D'Artagnan betrayed him when he in fact did not, because he was trying to protect his own son, and nobody knew that it was D'Artagnan's son. So the king was D'Artagnan's. Kings were D'Artagnan's kids. So there was some evolution there. I agree with that, but I think that it's the only way to really sever that bond is exactly what happened. I mean, and then when Athos realized what was going on, he was like, well, you know, he was the best of us, because he was. D'Artagnan was a hero. He had taken an oath, and he was, no matter what it was, he needed to protect his son. He loved the other 3 Musketeers. He loved them. They were his mentors and his father figures, because he was the youngest, and the 3 of them loved him. So it was, at the end of the day, I think that nothing could have severed those bonds.
He was, in the end, the man in the iron mask.
Well, so did y'all find the ending of this movie satisfying for the characters?
Yeah.
I thought it was pretty perfect for the characters. Everybody got their just desserts, except for D'Artagnan. He got kind of screwed.
That was, you know, I forgot what happens to D'Artagnan, you know, and D'Artagnan is like this, you know, mythical. Well, he's a mythical figure, But, you know, he's on the candy bar when it says Three Musketeers, you know, and he's, but yeah, I agree with Rich. You know, except for D'Artagnan, you know.
Okay, my final question is, in your opinion, does the film stay true to the spirit of Dumas's work, or does it take too many liberties?
If you've read the book, it takes a lot of liberties. It's not the same story. That said, you can take whatever liberties you want when you're making a movie, and they did it very well on this. Count of Monte Cristo was very close. This, not so much. It wasn't bad. It was very different than the actual story. But I thought it was good. I thought the way they did it was great. I think that the characters were true to the characters from the book. Each one of their personalities, Aramis being, you know, incredibly intelligent and very pious, and Porthos being just a super lech and incredibly strong.
Yeah.
And Athos being the best of the warriors until D'Artagnan showed up, and he took D'Artagnan in as a sort of a son figure, and then they were best friends until Athos had his own son. So yeah, I think, and then the king and, you know, his brother, the Leonardo DiCaprio's characters, excellent, fantastic, perfect, right in line with how it was in the book. So yeah, I think they crushed it.
All right.
So we're gonna rate this one. Did we rate it?
I thought we did.
I didn't.
I thought you gave it a 4.
Did I? Yeah, you're right. I'm sorry. I'm getting old. You're asking me too many questions. It's throwing me.
I 4. I enjoyed this one.
Well, you want to? How about we'll jump over to 2011? What do you call it? Percy Jackson in the Three Musketeers? Is that what you call it?
I'm calling it.
I call it Resident Evil meets the Musketeers. This is a 2011. You know, you just asked a question, how close does it come to Dumas? This one does not. This is a steampunk version of the Musketeers. And it was directed by Paul W.S. Anderson, who does the Resident Evil movies. And you can see that plain and clear throughout this movie. It stars Matthew McFadden from Ripper Street, of course, Mila Jovovich, Luke Evans, Ray Stevenson, the late and great Ray Stevenson. This one has Till Schweiger in it, Orlando Bloom, and Logan Lerman as D'Artagnan. This movie's it's fun, but it's not great. And I love Three Musketeer movies. You know, ever since I was a lad, I've loved Musketeer movies. I love what they stand for. They stick together. They always kick the bad guys' butts, you know, and they always do the right thing. They may quarrel a little bit, you know, like brothers and stuff, which they are basically. And then they come together, save the day, save France, you know, because France is always in peril back then. I forgot to mention Mads Mikkelsen is in this. He's always awesome as Roquefort.
And a couple of people from Inglourious Basterds.
Yeah, Till Schweiger. And I forgot the Cardinal, Christoph Waltz. He actually little scenes he's in. He actually steals most of this movie as the evil Cardinal. And the guy that played Dr. House, he's got a little tiny role in this. Can't think of his name, but he played House.
I thought I saw somebody.
Hugh Laurie. Yeah, he's one of his advisors. He's the one that advises not to give him the starving people in France.
Oh, that's in the other movie, bro.
Oh,
yeah.
See that? Pardon my language. See, that's what happens.
It's all the coffee, man.
That's
the Man in the Iron Mask.
Well, let me finish. Okay, let me wrap this.
No, keep going.
This was fun.
Airships, which was a cool scene. The airship fighting scene I thought was kind of fun. Got
the submarines.
Yeah, it got musketeers that are apparently French Navy SEALs at the beginning. It's this movie's all over the place. It's got Indiana Jones traps in it, slow-mo, bullet time. It's got all this, and it still doesn't make it a great movie. It was okay. I probably won't watch this one again. And I love Musketeer movies. I'd pick the 1970s versions over this one. It just too much junk thrown into this, and too much reimagining in it. Yeah, and it's got some great actors in it. Big fan of Ray Stevenson.
I miss him. I was telling Jennifer about Ray Stevenson, and she didn't know who he is. And I said, we're going to have to watch Rome. He was tight as pillow in Rome, and I just fell in love with him.
Oh, he's
he had the best character in Rome. He did.
Yeah, he just.
And I remember his death in King Arthur. When he's on the ice with that big old hammer.
Yeah.
Bam, bam. That you may hate that movie, but that was a good scene. And Till Schweiger was in that. Actually, he was breaking the ice.
So was Mads Mikkelsen.
Yeah, that's right. Mads Mikkelsen. He's another I don't know if he's underrated, but he's underused. He should be in everything.
He's underused in Hollywood for sure, but he does a lot overseas.
Oh, he does.
One of those other beautiful Viking men they have over there.
Yeah. Let me throw this out there. D'Artagnan's father at the beginning, Dexter Fletcher, he was in Band of Brothers. He played Sergeant Martin.
Yeah, I think I recognized him.
Yeah. And also he was in Doom. He was a scientist in the wheelchair that turns in.
Yeah.
He does he makes a lot of musical movies that are huge. He's in all kinds of stuff, but it's always good to see him. And Luke Evans is always good to see. And you told me about Luke Evans, and I was like, really? But
Luke
anyway,
Evans and Orlando Bloom, I get them confused.
They
in the same movie was really confusing for me.
Oh yeah, the Hobbit movie was like, wait, which one's which? Which one? Okay, that's right. The one with the pointy ears is Orlando Bloom. That's right.
Oh, he had long blonde hair too, though.
Yeah, that's true. This movie.
The guy who played De Winter's lover, I don't know which one he was.
Oh, yeah. He's
a period actor from Britain, and I usually see him. He played Mr. Darcy in something, when Pride and Prejudice, and I've seen him in a number of those types of movies.
Well, he's in a great series called Ripper Street.
He's in Ripper Street?
Yeah, he's the main actor in Ripper Street, actually.
Okay. Well, he's very good.
Yeah.
I just was really surprised to see him in this.
Yeah, this is, they tried with this movie, but it just didn't work. And also that late night guy plays their page or foil or the Musketeers foil. What's his name? He had a late night show. He sings. Oh, he's annoying.
Oh yeah. I can't remember his name.
James Corden.
Yes, he did the thing with the cars. Yeah.
Yeah, James Corden. He was. I did not like the part in that. That's perfect because I don't like that guy, and he played an annoying guy. And one more before I turn it over to both of you. Juno Temple played the Queen. I didn't notice that till halfway through. Juno Temple from our football movie.
Ted Lasso. Yeah.
So yeah.
I knew I recognized her, but I didn't know where from.
Yeah, that was Juno Temple.
Well, because she's kind of, I guess, older. Very young in this. Very young.
She's in the new Venom movie. She's one of the stars in the new Venom movie.
Oh wow! Is that any good?
Yeah, it's worth seeing.
All right.
I think it's one of the better, newer Marvel movies, if you want to call it a Marvel movie. It's kind of a Sony movie, but I think it's Marvel through Sony or Sony through. I can't. But yeah, it's okay. I like it. Not as good as the first one, but it was good.
Well, what did you two think of this?
Go ahead, boss.
It's strictly fantasy. It's just steampunk. It was fun. Again, Percy Jackson and the Musketeers do Disney. I mean, it was fun and lighthearted, and it had a good cast. And oh my gosh, I just love me some Ray Stevenson. So I enjoyed it. But I don't know that I think it is a true Musketeer movie. But it was a fun departure with Percy and his compadres. Percy's a little badass in it, though.
He was definitely outacted in this.
Yeah. Yeah, but that wasn't hard.
Oh, yeah.
Is that it, or do you have more?
Well, no, I got questions. Y'all, you go ahead and do you.
No. So, when I have twins, for you guys, anybody that doesn't know that, and, they're ancient now. They're 23, but when they were born, we got a bunch of gifts as you do, and one of them was a diaper genie. I don't know if you guys know what a diaper genie is, but diaper comes off the kid, and you put it in the diaper genie. And you sort of spin this little thing, and it's got it goes away.
Penis.
And so basically, that diaper genie is full of shit. After a while, that's what this movie is. This movie is just full of shit.
Yeah.
I am so much dumber for having watched this stupid movie. I actually made a mistake, and I watched the Three Musketeer movie with Kiefer Sutherland, and that was 100,000. That sucked too. 100,000 times better than this hot garbage. Much like a diaper, hot garbage. This just nothing about this movie did anything for me. I was just so affronted by it. I mean, I don't want to see that kind of bullshit in a Three Musketeers movie. It actually frustrated and angered me. It was so crappy, and it never got any better. I was waiting for the thing, and like you said, there was all that Matrix shit. What are you doing? Anyway, I digress. It was a very frustrating film because I wanted to like it because it's like you, Alan. I'm a big Three Musketeers fan. I love it. It's that whole aspect of history is fantastic. But this movie just kind of butchered it, and it like I said, it was frustrating and angering to me. And I'm extremely glad that I will never watch. I can't wait to never watch this movie again. It was just crap, and I'm not going to rate it very high. I'm guessing you guys can figure that out. I'm sorry, my dogs are freaking out upstairs. But I'm a big Luke Evans fan. I like Orlando Bloom. I like Mila Jovovich. Christoph Waltz, fantastic.
Yeah.
But the movie sucked. It just sucked. So I guess that's all I have. You can fire off your questions, and hopefully I can
You just went through about 8 of them. So, how did y'all feel that the steampunk inspired elements in this adaptation, such as airships and advanced technology, did you feel like it enhanced or detracted from the story?
Well, it detracted. I'm just jumping in. It sucked. Don't do it. You suck for even thinking about it. I hate you. Go ahead.
I feel it enhanced it because it sucked it so bad that it needed something to bring it out of the suck. I mean, I started looking at Facebook while I was watching that, and then all of a sudden the airships come up. It's like, okay, let's see this part,
Well, I thought I screwed something up. I'm like, wait, is this the same? Is this like Sky Captain in the World of Tomorrow? What just happened to me? And no, it was the same movie.
Right.
Well, this to me is one of those times when someone said, we want to make a new adaptation of The Three Musketeers. And some asshole in Hollywood goes, but we're going to make it steampunk.
Yeah, it'll be great.
I'll give you money.
Let's do that.
Okay.
Resident Evil to do it, and makes it Resident Evil do it. We'll get Mila Jovovich to be in it. Yeah, all right. It did make money, barely. It was the budget was 75 million, and it made worldwide like 120 million. So it probably broke even really with all the advertising. And
how the hell did this movie make $120 million? Give me the money, and I'll do it with stick figures and sock puppets, and it would have been better.
I want to see that. I don't have the money to give you, but I would like to see.
I need $120 million to know. Deal's off.
I think it was in 3D too. I think that was a selling point. I think it was in 3D.
I think so, because
in 3D, 2D was bad enough.
But what 3D was the rage, hey, this movie's got to be so much better because it's in 3D.
You know what's in 3D? Hey, don't watch that movie.
Okay, so my next question.
Yes.
This film introduces the character of Milady de Winter as a skilled operative. How does her role as a villain differ from other adaptations of the character?
She always played a duplicitous villain, right? Or a duplicitous
She's an
character.
evil bitch in everything she was in, right?
Yeah. But you mean because she was a super? She had the T virus in her in this one too.
Yeah.
It was silly. That was silly. This movie's silly.
It was Rebecca De Mornay and the other.
Told you everything you needed to know with her running down the hallway with the spikes and all the stuff from Raiders of the Lost Ark and
evil. The laser type things that would cut you. Remember?
Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking. I was thinking exactly the same thing when she's running down that hall. I'm like, oh shit! Somebody turn it on. Turn the power on, and fry her.
I'd love to hear what Scott thought.
I know, right?
Hey, that's his gal.
Oh, I'm a big fan. I love Milla Jovovich. I think she's great in everything. And honestly, in this film, it wasn't. She didn't act it poorly. It was just written terribly and directed by basically a sponge. It was just bad. But anyway, I like all those actors in the movie. I like them all. It sucked.
This leads me to my last question.
Yeah.
This is historical accuracy versus Hollywood magic.
Oh yeah, it was.
I'll take a minute and discuss the historical accuracy or lack thereof of each film. And
100% historically accurate, of course, with the steampunk and the airships and the lightsabers and Godzilla. So,
I remember
100%.
that in high school. I remember when we did French history. They had the airship wars, and they had the Hobbits with Luke Evans, and I remember that.
Don't forget the lightsabers and Godzilla. Yeah.
I did like the way the king was, because he didn't give a crap about the cardinal. The Musketeers were his boy. They're my boys, and when he wants to reprimand them, the cardinal wants him to reprimand the king for killing a bunch of his soldiers. He's like, hey, I'll give you guys some new, guys need new uniforms and whatever, I kind of like that part because I thought it was funny because it's so the opposite of what you see. But the movie still was sucky.
Yeah, it was terrible.
So, Tony had asked a question. I'm asking everybody to kind of give us more. And he had asked, what was your favorite 2024 horror movie? And that his was The Substance. So, Rich, what was your favorite 2024 horror movie?
It's got to be Alien Romulus.
Alan?
I'm going to go with Alien Romulus because I really haven't seen a whole lot of horror last year. Wanted to.
I can't believe that no one has mentioned my favorite.
What's that?
Abigail.
Oh,
Abigail was good. It was.
Good.
If I had to, honestly, I don't know that I could pick between the two of those. They were really good.
Rich, I hate to copy you, but I agree. I agree because I enjoyed them both.
Did you guys see the movie Heretic with Hugh Grant?
No, I hear it's good.
No, is it?
I haven't seen it yet.
I've seen the previews. It just came out, didn't it? It's like
I think it was 2024. It might have been 2025. I thought it was 2024, like in December or November or something.
Yeah,
it's a recent. We saw a trailer for it. It looks creepy, but it's like not.
Yeah, I'd like to see it.
Oh, Hugh Grant's been killing it in most of the stuff he's been in lately.
Since he has moved away from his period movies with the collars and the ruffles and all, he's doing pretty good.
Yeah,
he's embracing.
Landa saw Heretic. Landa,
what'd you think?
A full report. I mean, you won't be able to do it now, but you should. Was it good or not? Should we watch Heretic or no? What does Landa say?
Thumbs up. Thumbs middle.
They used to be able to whistle.
Hey, can I push something real quick since we're?
Yes.
I'm pushing this. Time of the Undead for the NKH family.
Now, where did you get that?
Twinsies.
Oh my gosh! Look out.
Hey, if you haven't read, you need to read Rich Restucci's "A Good Day to Die." he crushes it.
Look at that. Alan Gamboa. Right there.
Craig Bowling gets eaten in that one, though. But
Well, that's why he's asking you about hot dogs.
no, it's a joke we batter around, Max and I. Just silly stuff.
I think Grant is disturbing and strange, Doc. Well, this is a great episode, and that's going to end it for us. So, guys, we'll see you all next Wednesday at 9 p.m. Eastern.
6 p.m. Pacific. Thanks.
Bye, everybody. Thanks for coming. Thanks for putting up with my shit.
All right, Weirdlings, that's all for watching Wyrd this week. Thanks for tuning in, and remember, the strange and unusual never sleeps. Well, except for maybe on Thursdays. Speaking of sleep schedules, here's a quick reminder about our other shows. Dive into the mysteries of the mind with Wyrd Awakenings every Friday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Cozy up with blondes, books, and campfire tales for spooky stories every other Tuesday at 8 p.m. Central Standard Time. Hone your craft and connect with fellow writers on Write With Me on the third Sunday of each month. And don't forget, Watching Wyrd now airs live every Wednesday at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. For all things Wyrd, find us on social media via Linktree in the description below, or visit our website at weirdrealities.net. Stay weird.